I'd like to acknowledge our visitor, Trustee White. Welcome to the meeting. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Hushain Zagami,
Here.
Nate Feeney,
Here.
Tom Hubbard and Louis Serrano are both absent today, and Roy Mumford.
Here.
Public comment? No public comment? Approval of 2/14/22 Public Work and Utility Meeting Minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Acknowledge work product transmittal. Item 5, acknowledge of water and sewer permit. What's your wishes?
May I make a motion?
Move to acknowledge.
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Item referred to committee by village board, none. Educational presentation and reports, none. Resolution and ordinance. Item 6, request to update ATV, UTV ordinance to open additional streets south of Highway 20. Who's discussed that?
Yep,
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I was last week contacted by Patty Knightsky, who is a resident on Weston Avenue. Just requesting that Weston Avenue between Ryan Street and Zinzer Street be opened up for ATV, UTV use, as well as Ryan Street south of Weston Avenue. She had also contacted the Rural Riders Club, who has kind of been the lead agent on the other ATV, UTV routes in the village, and they've also done all the signage. So I guess they said they would also do the signage if if these additional areas in the village were approved. So I guess on the map here, the red lines are what the village has previously, I guess, opened up for ATV, UTV use, and the yellow is, I guess, the addition that they're asking for.
That is the property at the corner of Weston Avenue and Ryan Street, right?
Yeah, this is Ryan Street is this north-south and Weston
Right.
Avenue here, correct? This resident lives over here and they own land off of Shorey, so they're kind of really just hoping to be able to use their UTV legally to get from their house to their land.
I thought she has a bed and breakfast or some sort of,
There might be something else too, I don't know.
okay,
Is this one bolts on the EMPD?
I guess in talking with Clay in the past, he hasn't had any issues with ATVs in the village. We can definitely make that a part of it where, police chief would need to sign off on anything.
have you talked to the chief?
Not about this route specifically. The other ones we have, there's usually a contingent, on, the police chief, the EMPD signing off on approving those routes. She got to me late last week, or was it Thursday, so I didn't get a chance to get over to Clay.
How about then we just, defer it until next meeting? So we can talk to the chief or we
Yeah.
can approve it subject to the.
You can approve it subject to the chief's approval.
That would,
Okay.
yeah, I agree with you, Shane. My thought was the same thing. I don't spend enough time on all of these roads to really judge, is it a wise idea or not?
Yeah. And I know in the past we've talked to where if it becomes an issue on any of these roads, we can always reverse it too and say, we thought it'd be okay, but there is a problem on this street, so we're gonna no longer allow that use on that street. So,
The thing is, Ryan is kind of doesn't have much of a shoulder.
sure.
And But still, I think, I'll accept the motion to refer that to Chief of Police for his review and comment. If they approve it, then we can go ahead with that. All right, to make that motion.
Sure. I'll make a motion to recommend the village board approve opening the additional route for ETV, UTV use in the village of Weston as shown on the proposed route map stated in the ordinance amendment, subject to approval by Chief of Police of Weston.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying
yes.
aye. Go ahead, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that, Michael, perhaps, to avoid some of the one-offs, these requests, maybe, we could have a meeting with the ATV and, snowmobile clubs in the area and have a unified trail, that might, or a comprehensive map may be able to put in place where we can please everybody at once.
Sure, I mean, I know Cronewetter is one that they opened up every street. You know, so, yeah, I guess if there's a recommendation or, you know, do we? You know, I mean, I guess what's our starting point? Just this is what we have so far. What are we willing to open up? You know, because I feel like if you have that conversation, they're going to say every street should be open.
It will.
And I don't know if we want, you know, like Schofield Ave necessarily open.
Right.
So I guess I'm just curious.
That's not so much a that's not so much like I'm not intending it as a directive. I'm just saying that in the next couple months it might be something we may want to look at.
Sure,
That's all.
Yeah. I mean, in general, I think, you know, kind of that southern part of the village, you know, east of Camp Phillips is probably okay. So just trying to figure out what parameters we put on it, Dan?
Nate, just so you know, I believe the county might have a master map. I know some people out on the east end of the county that are very proactive with the UTV, ATV stuff. And they wanted the different townships to open up stuff. I mean, I can check into it once with the county. I don't know if it's the snowmobile coordinator, but between sheriff's department and county parks, I'm thinking somebody's got like a master map for the county, I do believe. But I can check into that and nothing else, get back to you with it.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. And if memory serves me right, we did adopt the county plan or the county master plan, but if there's streets missing that the ATV associations may want opened up outside of that, we could explore that.
Just so you know, one of the issues out east was not all of the townships wanted all of their roads opened up just because of the fact that some are narrow with no shoulders, some of them had bad visibility, hills, curves, stuff like that. So some were selective, some were wide open, and I know Marathon County isn't letting them run all the county roads, there's just select ones. Are you looking just for the map so we know, or are you trying to encourage more of the use of all the village streets, is the question.
For now, just the maps,
Okay.
so that if additional action needs to be taken, we at least have a starting point.
Okay, I'll do some digging and see if I can find a master map.
I think
Thank you.
county that happened because the county roads are usually wider than town roads. The town roads are, some of them are haphazard.
But I don't think Marathon's County's letting them run all the roads. They looked at the ADTs on them,
Right,
and that's where they restricted some.
but still, as I said, county roads are much better constructed and wider.
Okay.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Staff report, CIP update, Michael?
So this past week, or last week, there was a webinar that focused on the bipartisan infrastructure law, I guess part 2 for the federal fiscal year 23 through 26 projects. I guess I was initially under the assumption that every year there's gonna be solicitations for projects. Coming out of that webinar, it sounded like it's one solicitation for all of those following years. So the applications are due June 3rd. I talked to Andy Lynch with the MPO right before this meeting, 4 o'clock today. And he also is trying to seek clarification on that, if anything we apply for that by June is just for like the fiscal year 23 projects, and then if there will still be a subsequent 24, 25, 26, or if it is just one mass, I guess, project application. So trying to get clarification on that, because I think it changes how we approach which projects we submit and when. If we're trying to figure out the next 4 years and trying to get multiple grants in there. So
I think last time they did this project like that, it was only one time,
sure.
and that was it.
Yeah.
Whatever project you got in, and they call it ready shovel or something like that.
Yeah, so that's where the 22-year funding is.
Yeah.
But the 23 through 26 is, they're there to fund design and, you know, the whole thing, it doesn't have to be a shovel-ready project, so.
Okay.
I think it makes it harder almost if it's just the one submission, because then we're.
The last time, no, it was a very finite, shorter timetable for spending. This time they were
Correct.
given it multiple years and.
But the thing is, you're gonna spend the time and the money on the design, and you may not get it.
Yeah, I mean, so we would wait on design until we knew if we're receiving a grant.
Or you gotta do some preliminary design to come up with your estimate. Or you can just do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can try to come up with a general scope estimate and, you know, inflate it a little for, you know, unknown factors.
Okay,
How much do they have available? Is it, are they paying 100% of it?
They're 80, up to 80% grants.
80-20.
You know, our MPO recently has gone to a 70-30 to try to encourage, you know, try to squeeze an extra project out of the grant cycle. So we, you know, we would pay 30%, we'd get 70% funding from the federal level.
You can't use anything that's already in process?
Yeah, the design has to follow the, I guess, the FHWA, the state guidelines. So some of, the majority of our local roads, we don't follow the, you know, DOT guidelines to a T. You know, we might, you know, they might say you need a clear zone of 26 feet off the edge of the shoulder. Well, that might put, you know, like on Weston Avenue, for example, 26 feet might put you in somebody's house. So if we were following the state guidelines, they'd say, well, that house needs to now be moved. You know, so sometimes there's constraints like that that we, you know, work around or don't follow exactly to the T for a local road. Whoa. Screen just went out. But then, so, you know, you generally try to hold off a little bit on design too on that. Because if you are designing something, you don't want to have to then redesign it so that it meets the state requirements. You know, so I guess I'm hopefully getting more clarification. We should also find out about our local road improvement project grants that we submitted in October. They initially said end of March, early April, we'd have those. So I think the projects there that we submitted, and if we don't get funding through that local road improvement program, I think those we'd turn around right away and submit for the infrastructure funding. And then as far as the 2022 grant program, we did talk to the village board in February about this, and I was told to go see what project we have that could go fit the criteria. Talking with the DOT and a couple other design consultants out there. Repaving Northwestern Avenue seems to be the only thing that fits the criteria. I had talked about Jelnik, but due to the curb ramps needing to be upgraded to ADA standards, they didn't think we'd be able to do that without impacting right of way. And if we have to impact right of way to follow the DOT standard, we're likely not going to meet the August 1st date that plans and specs would have to be in place. So we'll be pursuing, I guess, the repaving of Northwestern with that grant program, but so hopefully we at least get something out of that. Northwestern was in the draft CIP, I believe, is a 2025 repaving project, so it is a project that is on the horizon in the plan there. So
What about Ross Avenue? Can you do that Ross Avenue? Your design is done, isn't it?
yeah, I don't know if that one. I guess we could look at it. I mean,
What the stretch you are, the right of way is good. There's no problem there.
yeah,
So if
yeah.
you can do that, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, we did bid that project, in the packet here, we have a proposal to award that project.
So I was confident the design was done.
Yeah. So again, you wouldn't know, we would have to reject those bids and rebid the project through the state process, in the fall, so the project would be delayed until next year. So,
Depend, what's the estimated cost? Million?
Are you talking about the same piece of Ross Avenue?
which part of Ross are you talking about?
Ross, I'm talking from Mesker to Bridge.
Mesker to the bridge, yeah, it was what, 200,000?
230.
Yeah,
It's not bad.
yeah, so I mean, we'd have to then pay, so we did that in-house as far as, we're gonna mill it off. To go through the DOT process, we're gonna have to hire a consultant to submit the documents, we're still gonna have to go through an environmental review,
Right, yeah.
so we're gonna incur, probably 15 to 20,000 just in a consultant going through that process for us.
Are they gonna look at ramps too on there? You got Chadwick, Mesker, well, not Mesker, we're past.
Yeah, I mean, we'd just be milling curb line to curb line. Yeah, I guess there are some curb ramps technically there, so we could potentially would run into that same issue. I guess I'm not sure if our bang for our buck is there on that one, because
I think you got, and there you have all your handicap ramp,
There are ramps there.
right? As a matter of fact, there's one just around by Mesker,
Yeah,
someplace there.
I don't believe there's warning plates anymore. That's
Sorry,
the handicap warning plates.
right. They're not there?
I don't believe, from what I remember on Mesker, there, well, we're past that, but I don't.
Not on Mesker, on Ross Avenue,
Yeah,
where the Mesker intersect Ross Avenue.
we ended just east of the intersection of Mesker is where we stopped last year.
Yeah.
It depends on what their criteria is for the DOT. There's a crosswalk that runs across there, but there's no sidewalk on the north side.
There is no sidewalk in there at all. That's what bicycle path is 8 feet, and DOT agree with that.
Yeah, but where you pick up from Fuller going to the east. I'd have to go look at it, Hushain. I can't remember. There's ramps for that coming down, but I don't remember what runs to Ross to see.
Yeah.
It would mean concrete.
Well, that project went through DOT process, and we got the grant for it from that. That was one of those projects rush and do it.
How many years ago?
That was, you're talking about,
2009.
that was the section between like Alderson and Birch.
No, this section was from, Camp Phillips to the bridge.
That was part of the 2009.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of that, that was, you're talking about the troubled asset relief thing. That was the west part, went up to Birch Street. We tried to do that on a, a short time frame and just do a repaving as much as we could, just restrict it to repaving, but we ended up
Well, I
lowering a
know,
bunch of water services so they wouldn't freeze and stuff like that.
I know we had a discussion with the DOT over right away because they want a sidewalk, we couldn't do the sidewalk. Kelly Club is sitting on the right of way.
Yeah.
Plus across the street, the step is on the right of way. So there's problem in there, that's what they agree, we make it 8 feet, 4 feet for pedestrian and 4 feet for the bicyclists.
I see.
Well, we did get some kind of assistance on that, but I don't know.
Yes,
I don't think it was part of that TARP project though. TARP projects as they call them. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's my,
I know, John Lightfoot was there. I'll sit down and talk to him, John Lightfoot was there. Sit down and talk to him on the project.
I mean, I guess from my perspective, Northwestern's probably about a $550,000 project. So, as far as what we would gain from that versus, $200,000 on Ross Ave.
That's fine. If you can get it Northwestern,
Yeah.
Is there a cap on how much you can?
No, but generally you don't get two projects. So again, I'm just looking at this. I'm figuring we're, on a 200,000, 220, 217, I guess where we're at there on Ross Avenue. We probably would end up still at $55,000 in our costs on it. So if we got
175, 160?
yeah, so it'd be about 160,000.
So we can get much more money on that.
And yeah, I'm figuring we'd probably get at least, 400,000 plus for Northwestern, so.
well, go for it.
Okay.
But also, I think we talk about this, I asked for it, we should seal coat the bicycle path in Ross Avenue.
Yeah.
Schofield Avenue wouldn't be eligible?
Schofield Avenue we'll look at for the future years, but to be able to, essentially you need a project where you're not going to really do anything but remove the pavement that's there and put it back. So like on Schofield Ave, we've got some storm sewer stuff, traffic signals, those items. So there's no way we could turn that around by August 1st. But that's where in that 23 through 26 year project cycle, we'd put that in. I guess in my head, I figured, that'd be a great project to submit in 25, 26 for a grant. So, but that's where then it starts getting complicated if they say, nope, in June, I forget what it is, June 3rd or whatever, 2022, you need to submit your projects. June 3rd. So I guess that's where we're seeking clarity from them as far as, is there gonna be future opportunities or is it just this one shot to submit your project list, so.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, see what other highlights here. Birch Street, Becker Hoppy's working through some final details regarding some wetlands that are currently in the ditch lines and if they need to be considered mitigated or if they're man-made. So hopefully getting an answer there so we can get that project bid shortly. And then I guess
I thought the ditch line was okay.
It should be. It's the wetlands just kind of extends in that corner at Shorey and Birch. And
Okay.
we've got those culverts that flow under.
Yep.
So as I said, they requested an exemption for that area and there's some back and forth right now with the DNR, and we're just waiting to get a clarification if we can just say, yep, they're exempt, or no, they're not. So, cause if they aren't, then there might have to be some short sections of boardwalk put in. Then, yeah, well, 7 and 8, AECom should be getting that, out here as well, so we can get that bid out there. And, I guess the Ryan Street Apache project advance construction has indicated they'd like to, resume work on that, at the end of this month. We have a meeting with them tomorrow to kind of go over what their timeline looks like, for that project. Right now, I think there's still maybe too much frost in the ground for them to be able to dig very well, but up to them to a certain extent too. Any other questions on any of our capital projects that are going on?
No, this, and we have, which project is, Josh working on it to bid it?
So we're looking at, I guess we sent in our PFAS samples on March 3rd, they were received. So as far as the treatment plant for wells 1 and 5, we're working on getting an RFP together to send it out for design services. And we wanted to have those results back just in case we needed to.
So 1 and 5, 1 is Mesker, right?
1 is Alta Verde and 5 is Bladel. So the ones over by Kennedy Park
Got
there.
Yeah, those two are important, yeah.
Correct.
And then Mesker and municipal is already have the treatment.
Correct. Yeah, but it's, that was only for VOC removal.
It's set up for VOC removal with an airstrip, but it could certainly be, modified for some other type of treatment.
So can
There was
we-
also some expectation initially that might be activated carbon used there, and they never had to do that, so there is certainly room to make some expansion over there.
Is it part of the process or?
That would be a separate one after the other wells. Mesker well itself doesn't have good water quality, but Sternberg does currently, as far as, iron manganese are concerned. So when they get blended together at the treatment plant, it comes out as, below any, regulation standards that we have. We have switched it, the pumping cycle, so Sternberg is the first well to kick on and pump to the treatment plant, and it's also the last one to turn off. So Mesker is just used under, the higher demand periods, but otherwise it is primarily the Sternberg well that pumps to the treatment plant here right now.
So that'd be next year project possibly, or?
Yeah, I guess we'd have to look at the sequencing of it with hopefully wells 7 and 8, once they come on, we can start looking at what our capacity is, and, we got a water tower that we should probably be putting in there at that time too. So it's sequencing the facilities in a way that makes sense, so we're not down multiple wells or, water towers at the same time.
Because these two are almost residential, serving residential area, right?
Yeah, I mean, so all of our we have one well over by Cedar Creek, otherwise the other 5 wells all pump into the same system. So,
they're connected.
so it's all looped together, so whether it's the well up by, Tappy subdivision, the 2 back here off of Sternberg, or the 2 over by Kennedy Park. When the Everest Tower hits its low point, all of those wells are told to turn on, and then eventually it, the tower fills up, the wells shut off. And, we try to change it so, certain, our better quality wells turn on sooner, and then, there's still a lag, the poor quality wells turn on after that, but.
Anything else?
Shane, Josh asked me to have you skip the street one. Dan did ask me to skip the street one and go to utilities. He'll be right back.
That's fine, sure.
Yep, and sounded like Josh got caught in a little bit of a snowstorm trying to drive back from Minneapolis today, so he didn't make it here, but let's see. Our SCADA system is going over with AECOM those sites that they had. Get some follow-up information there. As again, I mentioned, the PFAS samples were collected. We're awaiting those results. Hopefully this week we'll get those back, and we'll have good news and be able to say we have low levels or no levels.
I think what we should do is, I know we got contacted by Marathon County Health Department, I guess, talk to them about their recommended language. As I've said, I think every water supply is gonna have these to some level. It may not be 40 like Wausau, but it's gonna be some low levels. Every private well's got them. And that they're focusing, of course, on public water supplies. And it's like suddenly this is a new problem that actually has been around for probably over 40 years. So it's a little frustrating from that perspective. But I think we probably do need to get together with the county health department, see what they're recommending for health advisory language or whatever it may be.
And I know the DNR last week too, they mentioned they've got some standard template language too for press releases and other items that you'd be putting out there. So I know Josh was looking into those as well.
Yeah, so we should probably be anticipating any contingency on that. It's kind of a frustrating issue for me to see go on. I guess it's not following the normal process of establishing a maximum contaminant level for safe drinking water. So we're all left kind of flopping in the wind doing our own thing.
Yeah, as I said last time, when we didn't have these sophisticated equipment, it was part per million, and a lot of things wasn't in play. Now with this complicated, sophisticated equipment, we talk about part per billion. I'm sure we can find more.
Yeah.
And more to come yet.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, we're finding the parts per trillions now that
Yep.
didn't exist previously, or they existed, they just were not detectable.
Okay.
So,
Did you want to cover it for Josh, or
yeah, so I guess I was going through Josh's.
these were part of Josh?
Yeah,
All right,
so,
anything else?
no, just he had some of the general usage data in there. Unless you have any questions on other utility items. We can head back to Dan at number 8.
Go ahead then.
We were hoping to start sweeping streets later this week, but Mother Nature's not helping us out today. I should have never asked them that this morning. I asked the crew, you think we can start sweeping later this week? But we're kind of gonna be transitioning from winter to spring, So we're kind of finishing up, we're cleaning the retention ponds, just kind of a hodgepodge. We're trying to get some more trainings done this month too. We've got CPR, first aid stuff coming up. I did some chainsaw safety training on Friday last week. We had the city of Wausau send 7 people along. Schofield sent 1. We're trying to do some joint trainings when we can, work together with them. City of Wausau was pretty good to us last year. They borrowed us some of their equipment for wedging and stuff and never charged us nothing. So they're still paying for their part of the training, but we're trying to work together with them and build a good relationship. So, everything that's honored pretty much is the stuff we've been doing. We're just gonna keep transitioning from winter into spring, and then it's gonna get really busy again. So not that it isn't now. One of the things I did put the next bid openings coming up March 30th. We've got Schofield Avenue, the concrete repairs. I sent out 8 bid packets last week to 8 different contractors. And then the entryway sign project, that's gonna be a bid project, not an RFP. And I found 10 sign companies between here in the Fox Valley and Green Bay that are interested. So we're gonna have plenty of competition when it comes to bidding, and it's gonna be interesting. So, it's kind of a detailed project. It'll be interesting to see where the money comes, how the pricing comes in and where everybody's at on it, so.
And then I guess, just to clarify, the Schofield Ave concrete repairs will be from like, Von Kennel Street to Municipal here, and then, like Old Costa towards like Teagan. So looking at this area east of Camp Phillips.
Nothing in the,
No, we're not looking at anything on the other side, anticipating that that'll be a full reconstruct, so trying to minimize the major maintenance over there. And keep this section in good condition.
There's more needs than money.
Yeah.
That's the bad part.
well, we haven't done this, I haven't done any work in this area.
2
A
years.
little bit, no, maybe a little bit, couple
Yeah.
years back.
Last year we did some in here, and then year before a little bit out closer to Teagan, so. I did put together the street maintenance bid opening results from the earlier March 9th opening, which we're gonna be talking to you about, recommending. And it basically comes down to, that's how many, we had quite a few on the crack sealing. And it was pretty close between Precision and Thunder Road. Thunder Road did the crack sealing for us last year. Precision did it in 2020. So they were within, $700, $750 of each other, so it's pretty tight. The GSB 88, Farner came in low on that. They did it last year too. And I know we had a couple issues with them with stuff pulling, but they were good. They came back and fixed where there were issues, so, I think they'll stand behind what they've got going on. The chip sealing, Scott's got it. Again, they had it last year too, I believe. Yeah, they've got it this year too. So, and then we get into the asphalt overlays. Items 1 through 5, and I didn't put everything on there because it gets kind of entailed, but those are other streets that we're gonna be overlaying. West Raybell, East Raybell, those are off Eau Claire Avenue here. Winding Ridge Way, and then Shorey Avenue from Alderson to Birch. Those are gonna be getting asphalt overlays on them. And then the next one is Kramer, that's in there, you'll see in red, and American Asphalt bid it. RC Pavers bid, and they actually came in low on the asphalt overlays. And Michael and I were talking, and on Kramer, instead of overlaying it, we're gonna pulverize Kramer from Guzman down to Trotzer. That road is really shot, the asphalt shot, and it was Michael's idea, well, maybe get a price on pulverizing it. It's gonna cost us about $8,000 more approximately.
Less.
Pardon? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the other way around. That's why I won't get the paper. It's actually less to do the pulverizing and put on a 2-inch asphalt, which I think in the long run is gonna be a lot better road too. The milling, the butt joints, we kept separate as a separate line item because we're gonna be purchasing a milling head for our skid steer. When it comes to milling butt joints, like on the asphalt driveways and that, we rented one last year. And we're looking at purchasing one this year for our skid steer. Since we bought the newer skid steer with the high flow kit on it, it can run the thing, and it's a piece of equipment that the rental rates have gone up on equipment to the point where, if you can purchase it in the long run for the amount of asphalt work that we can do with it, I think it's a good investment. So we're gonna see how busy we are, because you know how work goes. You never know when something pops up. Last year, we milled the butt joints for the asphalt overlays. We're gonna try and do that too again this year, since we're buying our own and try and save some money and utilize our personnel and equipment. So.
You said 2-inch, you put 2-inch on the road? I thought it was all 3 inches. No?
Not always.
Yeah, some are 2 inches, they're lower ADTs. Seems to hold up.
They do hold up?
The thing that's happening,
The-
go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, it'll be more of a, it's not the same surface mix, it's So it's not a binder, it's kind of in between there.
Then the last thing is the Ross Avenue milling paving, that's down on the bottom part of it. And that's gonna be from where Mesker left off up to the bridge. We're gonna look at all the inlets along there too and see if there's inlets that need to be repaired. We're gonna try and take care of those right away. There's a couple water valves between Mesker and Chadwick, I think, that are in vaults right now that we're gonna hopefully take out of the vaults and just direct bury them and be done and get rid of the manhole covers that are there in the roadway. That way, when we pave, we're done. We won't have to deal with those anymore. So that's kind of where it's sitting. Here's some pictures for you. We're doing some brushing out on Shorey with the mini excavator and the brush head. Kennedy Park, they ended up taking down all the ash trees because of the emerald ash borer that got into them. And it's kind of a shame. They took down 19 trees there. So, and it doesn't sound like it's something that you'll ever be able to stop. So we worked together with the park department, helped them get rid of that. And Von Cannell and East Jelnik, they're just finishing up today until the snow car started coming heavy. We're cleaning all the cattails from around the pond. It's been, I don't know, quite a while since it was cleaned. So we have to, remove the cattails and that. There'll be some restoration work to do once the snow is gone. But it'll last for quite a while, so.
Is that riprap in there or what?
There is riprap underneath it, so we tried not to disturb that. So it's mostly kind of mucking the edges and getting the cattails. You'll never get rid of them all, they will come back eventually again. There were muskrats in this pond too. They were actually where that excavator is sitting last spring. I never knew this, they tunnel in underneath the grass. And Stephanie Nagel that lives in that house called and she said, we've got like washouts in the bank. So I went up there and you could see, you'd be walking along, all of a sudden the grass drops about 6 inches. And there's a friend of mine that's from Pike Lake. He actually came and trapped there now, but I talked with him. Kenny Strand, his name is, and he said that's what they'll do. They will tunnel up a bank like that. So we fixed the ruts last year and Stephanie takes care of, she manicures around that pond like it's a golf course. She really puts her heart and soul into it. So, we try to be good neighbors and work together with her, so. It's gonna get busy again this year we've got storm sewer work we wanna do out by Wassa Supply and some other locations. With the paving, the overlays, we're gonna be raising manholes and adjusting manholes and stuff like that. There's a lot of different things in the works, so it's gonna be a busy year. We've got full staff for up to 10 people again, which helps, so. We're gonna try and, where this is kind of the calm before the storm right now, and then it's gonna get really crazy again, so.
Do we have to do any work on Birch Street at Aldi going in there?
Us as the village shouldn't have to do anything, no. They'll have some street cuts for their utility connections,
Right,
but,
We'd like to address those joints there though. I don't know, I guess Shane, rather than doing a concrete repair on those,
do what you did to the other side, that's it.
well, and to be honest with you, this spring now, once the hot mix plant's open, some of those joints, it'd be nice to clean them out and either pack them with hot mix and roll them good. If you can get like an E10 mix, something real hard, it'll last a long time in those joints. Or some of them, if there's some that we could do some concrete work with, without doing a full-blown 6-foot wide joint repair, well, I just have to see how far down they're deteriorated, I guess, be done.
I think you should see how much the traffic gonna increase too.
Yeah.
Because with Aldi going in there, definitely traffic gonna go up.
Yep. Yeah.
and I guess that's part of, tying into that whole Schofield Avenue reconstruction project too. There is a need to change how that intersection functions once that's in there. I guess I don't know, but that's the hard part of trying to maintain a road, but at the same time, knowing that you're probably going to be changing it in a few years, you try to balance how much investment do we put into it now, knowing that we're gonna likely rip it up and change it, a a couple years down the road. So
I think those joints there that we could probably, there's a guy that retired from the DOT years ago that was a maintenance supervisor. His son actually, Matt, is with DOT and he's worked his way up the ladder in the North Central region. And what he used to always tell me was, don't fix it too good, because if you do, the state won't rebuild it. So he always made us Band-Aid everything together. And I guess when you look at that concrete on Birch Street, on the south side of Schofield Avenue, those joints there, I think we could do something in-house that's not gonna cost us an arm and a leg, but still give us something that's gonna last us probably 5 years at least out of it. So that way, between now and then, if it does end up getting destroyed, we're not spending a lot of money, because the concrete repair is so expensive. You know, to do a 6-foot longitudinal joint that's 12-foot transverse is $1,053. If you have somebody come in, saw the concrete, remove it, dowel it, and by the time you're done with the concrete, the sawing, all that stuff, that was 2 years ago, the pricing on it. So when I did all the joints out here, I basically counted all the places that have patch material, and from County Highway X all the way out to Ryan. We could spend $250,000 if we wanted to do every one of those joints, because that's how much it costs you to do one.
Yep.
So if we can Band-Aid that together over there and make it so that people aren't falling in a crack that's that wide and that deep, and we're not out patching all the time and not spending an arm and a leg, you know, that's kind of the thought process.
Well, I think we gotta see, I'll look at the plan, I didn't see where the driveway is. I couldn't see it.
their Birch Street driveway lines up with the Quick Trip driveway.
Well, that's the safe thing.
There's two of them on Birch and one on Schofield.
Yeah, I think they both line up with the Quick Trip driveways on Birch.
Plan Commission's looking at it tonight.
Right, right.
So we want to get them fixed.
Is there two of them on Birch Street?
Two.
Like Quick Trip?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Unless you have questions.
Any question? Nate, do you have any question?
No, none.
Okay. Policy discussion and recommendation. Item 10, 2022 crack ceiling project recommendation.
Yeah, so I guess as Dan went through kind of that overview of those projects that were bid on March 9th. One of them was the crack ceiling project, which the low bidder was Precision Seal Coating at a price of $69,250. The preliminary street maintenance budget had $100,000 slated for crack sealing, so we're $30,750 under as far as crack sealing is concerned.
Okay, we should vote on that project or what?
Yeah, so I was just looking for recommendations to award the projects to the low bidders.
Yeah, I'll accept the motion.
Make a motion to award the contracts to the low bidders for each indicated area.
For the amount of
Second?
$69,250.
We need to say each one, or can we just do them cumulatively?
Well, I have them
Gotta do them each,
listed individually, so
gotta do them
I think we do it in the.
individually. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll make a motion for, I think it's the right one, for the crack sealing project. Make a motion to approve that in the amount of $69,000, was it $250?
yep.
Okay, now I'll second.
Okay, discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Item 11, 2022 GSB-88 project recommendation.
So I guess, yeah, similar thing, the low bidder on this project was Farner Asphalt. I guess the main item that just want to touch base on for the overlays, the GSB, the chip sealing, the crack sealing. We put all those together based on what the initial estimate was. Those categories all come at $501.47 under budget. So some came in over, some came in under, but as a group, those street maintenance items came in pretty much right at the number we had in in there, so.
Okay, what's your wishes?
I'll make a motion to recommend village board award the 2022 GSP 88 pavement sealing project to Farner Asphalt Sealers for a total bid price of $61,606.60.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? None, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? I have it. Item 12, 2022 chip sealing project recommendation. Michael?
Yeah, I guess the same spiel. The low bidder was Scott Construction at a price of $56,139.44.
Scott Construction, where does he come from?
Lake Delton, I do believe.
Long way from home,
Yeah, chip sealing is kind of their specialty.
Okay.
You know, them and Farner are pretty much the only two companies that bid chip seal projects in the state, so. And Scott has, I think the last 3 or 4 years even, been the low bidder on our project, so.
Okay, what's your wishes?
Make a motion to recommend village board award the 2022 chip sealing project to Scott Construction. Price of $56,139.44.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Was other people bid on this project also?
Scott and Farner were the two chip seal
Only two of
bidders,
them,
correct.
What was Foreman?
As far as price?
Yeah.
They were at, $63,215, so they're,
About 5,000 different?
7,000 almost more. Yeah.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. I have it, thank you. Item 13, 2022 asphalt overlay project recommendation.
Yeah, so again, there's two bidders on this one. It was RC Pavers and American Asphalt. The total bid price, let's see here, this one gets a little tricky. So total bid price to overlay the items 1 through 5, which 1 through 5 is the traffic control, Raybell, Winding Ridge Way, and Shorey. So their RC Pavers was the low bidder at $147,461.50, which was, you know, essentially $300 less than American Asphalt. So that was real close. And then our recommendation is to go with the pulverize and paving of Kramer Lane. So that'd be items 7A and 7B. And their RC Pavers was $70,001.25, and American Asphalt was $92,903. So the recommendation is to award the 2022 asphalt overlay project to RC Pavers based on their unit prices for items 1 through 5, and then approve items 7A and 7B to pulverize and repave Kramer Lane, and as well as the alternate bid for milling for a total price of $223,247.75.
This is Ron Christensen's son, right?
Correct, yeah.
Where is his plan?
Off of Alderson, Grossman.
Okay. Yep. What's your wishes?
I'll make a motion to recommend village board award the 2022 asphalt overlay project RC Pavers based on unit prices on the attached bid tab for items 1 through 5, and also to recommend approval of items 7-A and 7-B to pulverize and repave Kramer Lane, as well as alternative bid number 1 for milling butt joints and driveways for a total price of $223,247.75.
Second.
Yeah,
Discussion. And American Asphalt bid on all these projects also,
correct.
and they were higher on all of them.
Yep, yeah, so, like I said, for the 1 through 5,
They were pretty close.
it was about a $300 difference. I mean, the RC Pavers was still low. My screen can cooperate with me here.
It's just on the 7A and 7.
Yeah, the Kramer Lane portion was a $22,000, almost $23,000 difference. That was the main part there. Otherwise, yeah, the first part, they're almost identical as far as the bid price.
Yeah, they're $3,000 apart roughly. We're on 229,000.
Yeah.
Okay, any other question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Item 14, 2022 Ross Avenue, Mill and Pave, project recommendation.
So this was to pave the remaining portion of Ross Avenue from Mesker to the Eau Claire River Bridge. I guess it's a total bid price of $203,505.42. It is higher than the original estimate of $165, which was based on last year's prices. And looking at the bid results, the asphalt tonnage is about $20 a ton higher. So I guess I'm not sure what else is there. Did talk to Jessica and Jenna. We do have other non-borrowed funds in the CIP that we could use to offset the additional costs. So as far as the overrun on the estimate there, it can be covered by non-borrowed revenues. But as in talking with the both RC Pavers and American Asphalt after the bid opening, they said to only expect asphalt prices to continue to go up for the foreseeable future. So it was $20 more than expected last week, and they said anything else we bid, it'd probably look at putting another $15 to $20 a ton on it for the next few months at least. So I don't know.
So who else bid on the project?
That one was just American Asphalt. RC did not submit a bid on that one.
Any question?
Is that typical that you'd only get one or two for those? That's pretty much it off what you said earlier.
Yeah, as far as.
Got in the wrong line of construction work.
Yeah,
It's pretty much a monopoly almost on those.
The rest of them buy the asphalt from American Asphalt.
Sure.
So even they put the bid, they get beat pretty easy,
Easily.
so.
And RC has enough other work where they don't really want to mess around, I don't think with that, Though I don't think they want to deal with the traffic portion of it and all that either, so,
Or is a monopoly between Michael Construction and American Asphalt. It's not actually American Asphalt.
Matthew.
Matty. He does all the paving. Michael does all the concrete. Okay, I'll accept the motion for the Ross Avenue Mill and Pave project.
I'll make a motion to recommend the village board award the Ross Avenue paving project from Mesker Street to the Eau Claire River Bridge to American Asphalt for a total bid price of $203,505.42.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? I have it. Future item 15, next meeting date, Monday, April 11, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. Monday, May 9th at 2022, 4:30 p.m. Monday, June 13 at 2022, 4:30 p.m. And Monday, July 11th, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. Topic for future meeting? I don't have anything. Do gentlemen have anything?
I have just one question. What are they gonna do with the kayak launch during the repaving or resurfacing?
Probably still leave it open, just. I don't know, you had a timeline in there that they had to meet too, right?
Yeah, August 31st, it's gotta be done by, that's the D-Day. The other thing what we're gonna do is they're gonna use Fuller as the detour. So they're gonna run basically the way it works now from Mester Street to Fuller, by using Fuller as the detour, and that this is different than the kayak launch, they can work the piece from Fuller Street going west to Mesker, and they won't have to worry about traffic running it at all because they're Chadwick and the other streets we can close off. It's the piece from the bridge to Fuller that they're gonna have to work under traffic, and that's what I talked with them about. They're gonna have to do it with flag people, you know? So they'll come in and mill it off, ramp Fuller, ramp the bridge, ramp that, let traffic run it, because there's no way they'll get it all milled, you know what I mean, and shaped and paved. So at night, you know, that's what would happen. They're gonna have to use flag people, keep traffic moving.
Are they gonna put up temporary lights in like when they did the bridge or no?
I don't believe, no, because there really wouldn't be a good way to stage it. You know, they'll have wide open working from Fuller going back to Mesker. So you can close the road hard there and let them work that. It's the piece from the bridge to Fuller. They're just gonna have to work it with flagmen. I don't know how else you do it. So they'll shape it half at a time, you know, each side, get the binder laid on it, and so they can run the opposite side. So they're just gonna have to, you know, and try and work around. It's stated in the bid packet about the critical times are the morning and evening rush, and we don't, the thought was to put a time limit on how long they could have people sitting. But after talking to Michael, who used to live out there, there's signal lights, he said, if you put 2 minutes, you could, you know, and that really, so I had a talk with them and, you know, this is really critical. So I'm sure there's still gonna be some people that'll be upset a little bit, but I don't know how else they're gonna do it.
That's why I was asking.
And that,
There is no good way.
and that might have increased the cost a little bit too if they think they're,
Exactly, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
you know, if they're, because, yeah, we did make traffic control kind of a key thing there.
That's why I was curious, because I watched it when they did put up the temporary lights.
Yeah.
You know, because there's no other way to get around it.
Well, he can do one lane.
Yeah.
And then keep the Mesket open, shift it to the other lane, and then do the second lane.
Yeah, they don't have to hard close it all the way. You know, they can let them run the whole thing. It's just, you're gonna have to shape it and there's gonna be a little inconvenience. The ramp itself, keeping that open, well, there's a parking place for them there, so they can get, you know, they can park there. Getting out, we'll just have to deal with it and, you know, the good thing is that it's only a half a mile of road. You know, you're not dealing with 3 miles, so we'll probably put a message board up there in advance to warn people when we know the starting date's gonna be, that they're gonna be inconvenienced, and put it out in a press release and go from there, and we'll just deal with it.
Has been done before, it's not the first time, but
Yeah.
I'm sure people are gonna complain.
After last summer, I'm sure,
Yeah,
Yeah, it won't be as long as the bridge, guaranteed.
yeah.
okay, anything else?
No.
Good. Item 17, remark from administrator, Mr. Donner.
I guess we're a little beyond halfway as far as, value of the project completed over at the new municipal facility. They're framing up, interior office spaces at this point and, won't be able to pour a garage slab probably till, I think they got like the end of May perhaps as the target date. It has to thaw in there since there's been no heat inside that large space. So, everything though is still on schedule for completion. We didn't get we're trying to resolve, or the contractor's trying to resolve right now a different source for garage doors. Apparently the original subcontractor's not able to, get them here in time. I think they indicated having like a 30 to 50 week delivery before they'd even be on site, and that's not gonna work if we wanna be occupied by October, November. So, that's something we're working on, or the contractor and the architect are working through right now. Otherwise, I think the project's been going pretty well. I don't know, Shane's been involved in meetings. So, guess that's nickel tour of where we are right now.
You have a bid opening for safety building?
We're gonna have a meeting to go over the changes with the final, I guess, version of this recommended improvements over there with John Wallenkamp on Wednesday. So we just got that invite today. If you want to be part of that meeting, we can send you the meeting invite.
Sure.
Okay?
Just taking his dear time.
I think there's been some misunderstanding perhaps. He thought he had given us the latest and greatest after the last tour, but that never did happen, so
No.
we're trying to get this thing resolved.
Okay. Any other question for Mr. Donner? Remark from staff? Yeah. Michael?
No.
Okay, remark from committee member.
Nothing today.
Oh. Nate?
I've got nothing.
All right. I don't have any announcement. I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much.